Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of Sundays with Steve show. And today I'm very pleased to announce that we have Emmanuel Aginam, all the way from Nigeria, who's going to share with us his insights about the AI, data analytics, all the data efficiency, and everything we could do with AI. If you don't mind, Emmanuel, to introduce yourself, to tell us what's your field of expertise, and then we'll take it from there if you don't mind.
Okay. Thank you, Steve, once again for this opportunity. I'm so happy to be here. Greetings to everyone as well. My name, as he has mentioned, is Emmanuel Aginam, right? And I am a data analyst. I'm not too big on titles, though, but I'm a data analyst with interest in policy making with in education and healthcare. Those are my interests, especially for the youth, right? Because we need to design policies that affect and influence youth positively, empower them. And so those areas have been my focus, but I've been able to work in other areas, businesses, industries, and the likes. And I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thank you,
That's
Steve.
awesome. You're including the youth. That's the future for everybody. And also, I saw on the LinkedIn you have this interesting. You said it's bridging digital communications and data science. So, what are the ways you're bridging? Like, what are the bridges you're building right between those communications and the science? And also, again, now we're gonna focus on the youth, as you mentioned, how we could bring more youth into these topics, how to combine things together.
Okay, yes. So basically, the focus of that, right, is basically to ensure that stakeholders get the information that will help them to make smarter and more efficient decisions because again it all boils down to decision making, and we know that these days there are a lot of data, there are a lot of reports, there are a lot of dashboards that stakeholders are not using, but they are being created. So my job basically is to ensure that this is distilled down to the level of information that they can use and implement, and that will be beneficial for either their businesses, their brands, their firm, give them advantage in the marketplace, and for the youth also empower them such that they are not lacking behind and they have necessary tools and resources to thrive in our world.
Nice, interesting. Like I'm technically, I work for financial services company and big company, big firm in United States and they're all over the world. But and I hear about these other big companies in United States that all focusing on AI, automation, efficiency, better results, and for humans, right, versus machines, things like so machine to do a boring job to kind of make it easier for humans to not spend so much time of repetitive tasks, but focus more on analytical, uh, other visualized aspect of it. How is it? This whole movement is just all of a sudden just exploding right now everywhere. That's why I was like, I gotta learn it, and I want to learn it from other people from different parts of the world. And you from Nigeria, once again, appreciate you joining in. How is it? Is this as
Thank you.
big in Nigeria as the United States at this point? Like, how big is this AI movement and data efficiency and everything, data governance?
It's actually very big. It's actually very big. There have been a lot of investment in this area, right? Because it helps to avoid repetitive tasks, right? And other areas as well that can be automated, should be automated so that humans can focus on the thinking part, on creating clarity, on creating content. So it's quite big in Nigeria as we speak. And I believe also in Africa based on the research that I've been having, because as of last week and last 2 weeks, there have been meetings that were held by African presidents in ensuring that areas, for instance, in Nigeria, meetings were held to ensure that examinations that were conducted digitally. So these are processes whereby everyone is trying to take advantage of what AI gives, which is time.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there are certain tasks that I do personally that can take hours. Now with AI, I do them and in a minute.
What is your number
So
one go-to
the
platform for the AI, by the way? What, like, do you use Claude? You use ChatGPT, or what is big in Nigeria? Like in here, all I hear Claude, ChatGPT, Claude, like the biggest one. But there is Midjourney. There's like so many of them. I don't know, obviously, all of them. What is the big for you personally, and in general for youth of Nigeria, Africa, like in that region? What do people use mostly?
Okay, so from a mini survey that was done yesterday that I saw in a group, right? Although the population of that should be about 200, so I can't say that it is representative of the whole country, not just of Africa. Right? Most people use Claude and ChatGPT. So I guess those are the areas that most people focus on and they utilize more. And I think that's the same for me as well, both Claude and ChatGPT, because of how they both work and
Hmm.
the way that they work as well. Yeah,
Nice.
so that's been it for me.
What is your professional? I don't want to say prediction because prediction doesn't sound professional. Prediction means like, oh, maybe this, maybe that. What do you what do you feel the areas? I know we see the areas of AI taking. I don't want to say taking over as well because they're here to help us, right? Not take over everything, but they from medical fields to financial, of course, data governance. So it's everywhere now. How do you feel like? Is it in 3 years or is it in 5 years? When is it going to be more robots doing human job than now, for example, right? Because it's expanding rapidly so fast. It's hard to catch up. It's hard to catch up with it. What do you feel like is going to happen in like 3 to 5 years
So
or 10 years?
okay, so for me, I believe that AI is going to be as invisible as the internet. It means that they are going to penetrate every area of our life, our healthcare, education, school, voting, even relationships. So it is going to be there. We are going to see it. We are going to experience it. We are going to be using it daily, even. So for me, I've come to see AI as um, when intelligence is no longer rare. So what happens? So the question for whomever is listening to this is not even to be looking at where AI is going, is looking at how can you position yourself when intelligence is no longer there? When with the click of a button we can get the information where everything is happening. How do you position yourself in such a way that you become indispensable in the value chain? Not just sitting at the bottom rung of the ladder, but indispensably, because AI is certainly going to penetrate every corner and fiber of our being. And in as much as we are craving for the human dimension to be maintained, for the human context to maintain, it is likely that that might not be the case. So it's an ideal, but it's likely that it might not be the case. So, but we need to ask ourselves, okay, because again, with AI, if we are not careful, because there was a LinkedIn post I wrote earlier about the fact that if we are not careful, we might want to even optimize our communication due to the speed that AI gives us, which means that when we're reaching out to our loved ones, we would have timetable for it, right? To want to do it with speed. And meanwhile, communication relationship takes time. You have to sit down with your loved one, watch them play, watch them laugh, watch them cry. It takes time. But things with AI, it optimizes for speed. And so that means that for us, we need to be intentional, right, in how we leverage AI. So it's not as though AI is going to, because AI might penetrate, but it's not left for that individual person to now determine, okay, yeah, so even if AI would do this, this is how I still want to maintain certain areas of my life so that I will not lose context and value.
That's a very interesting point. And back to the initial introduction when you said you're working with youth. Now we all know. well, from personal experience, I have two kids out of college already, like so it's I kind of see how like my kids don't even want to use AI. They're like, oh my god, we're ruining the planet. No, let's not use it. But some kids, we all know the short attention span now. If people don't have that much desire to spend more time on certain topics, how can we teach the youth, right? The people who teenagers, maybe the young, kids in college, to not lose themselves in with all these innovations, right? You could, as I said, click of a button, you can get information in a second. But instead of how do we teach them not to lose themselves in it and not to become AI's voice as opposed to human voice in all of this, and simply just copy paste the information that they're receiving from AI, but also to understand that okay, if we're getting the information very quickly, you can get almost every information there is about anything. But how can we remain the humanity of it and teach the young kids to say, hey, even though it's available now, almost like especially in college, right? A lot of people saying, "Oh, essay is now easy. Just ask ChatGPT, it gives you the ideas." But how can we teach them to, yeah, use maybe the ideas, use the overall ideas, but you should be you who putting the things together and have your voice, not ChatGPT's voice or Claude, any other platform. How can we teach them that?
Okay, so again, it all boils down for me to intentionality, to recognizing that what AI produces is based on the thinking of another person. So we are basically enjoying access to is based on the thinking of another person. And so it means that what I as the person thinks is important for for the mere fact that what another person thinks is what produces what we are enjoying, then
Mm.
it also shows that what I think as well is important. And so we need to be intentional to set out time. In fact, even before we get to use AI, let us use our brain. Let us digest, let us reason, let us critically analyze whatever it is that we are doing first before we involve AI in whatever it is that we want to do. And that's why you would see that in as much as, let's assume one picks up a book, maybe The Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, you
Mhm.
can go to AI, put that, ask it to give you a summary of whatever it is that's written there. But the truth is that when you read that book yourself, not just the summary, there are certain insights that you would get that the summary itself would not give. There are certain wrestling that will take place in your mind that the summary itself or the breakdown that AI would give would not produce. And it is those wrestling that brings out that transformation. It is those wrestling that changes you on the inside that produces the kind of outcome that you want. So that's why I would always suggest it's always for a case of intentionality where we intentionally make sure that we engage with the material, engage with the issue with our mind first before we bring in AI to it to either speed up the process, optimize it, look at the areas that we might not have considered, because we must recognize that our brain is where the power is, not in the tool. The
Right.
tools will always change, and they change based on what our brains can produce. So when we begin to recognize that, it will define how we engage all of those tools. Are they helpful? Yes, of course. Also, we must also know that our brain too as well is helpful.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's it for
that's
me.
excellent. Excellent observation there. If I'm just thinking like if you were to represent your country, right? Like I don't want to like put that pressure on you, but for you personally, right? For all the youth that right now who live in Nigeria and everybody is starting to use, as you said yourself, like every corner of the world, everybody is starting, they know about AI, they exploring AI and they using it. And I love how you explain that. Yeah, we could get a summary, but you will never get those details when you read the book yourself. Growing up back in Russia, right, in Tajikistan, I grew up in there. Uh, Reading books was like number one thing to do. Like, well, besides that, we did not have technology. I'm older than internet. There was nothing much else to do, but we were very, very encouraged to read books. And whenever I used to read the book, and then when somebody asked me, I was like, I don't remember if it was a movie or if it was the book that I read, because to me, it was like a movie in my mind when I read all these little details. So if you were to send a message to the youth of your country, right, to give them some kind of advice or the way of thinking about the proper way to think about how to utilize your AI. As you said, it's here to stay. It's not changing. It's going to be in every area of our lives. What would be your message for them? Like how to better learn it in the right way and start using the AI.
So, so for the youth, basically, if I'm to speak to the youth directly, I would advise them that they should use AI. They should not see AI as a replacement. Basically, they should see it as it being present for amplification. It's basically to amplify what they have. So that means at the foundation, at the core, they need to have something valuable, a skill, maybe they can think fast, they know how to process things better. So AI would work on those and amplify it. So those that would be on the losing end are those that basically maybe don't have anything and they depend on AI
Mm-hmm.
to, but once you know that you have something, AI will basically just amplify that for you, would help you to work on that foundation that you already have. So the goal for them is to ensure that they are building and solidifying something tangible, something that will be relevant to the future of work, the future of how we relate, how we live, our culture. They should work on those, deepen it, and then use AI to grow, to scale, to make themselves indispensable in the value chain, in the process, in the marketplace.
That's excellent message. I hope youth of Nigeria and Africa and everywhere from that side of the world will listen to you, because no matter how much we think we know and we're older a little bit, I'm maybe a little bit older than you, but we're still older than the youth. And we think, okay, we're gonna show them the way, but I feel like they're gonna show us the way eventually because it's evolution, right? They're gonna know more than us, but and they're faster with the technology. They get born and they already know it. It's so interesting. Uh, where would you suggest people would learn more about these topics? Like I'm hoping that people will follow you first on LinkedIn and on other platforms. And what would you suggest would be the best place to go and learn about AI and learn about these other platforms, or this one platform you would recommend for them to, not only the youth, everybody. Like I'm also looking for advice because I'm learning about it as well. What would be the best? Where were you learning about it? Where's your go-to place?
Okay. So when it comes to this particular question, I'm very, very careful.
Mm,
And the reason for this, or for that is, as we know, there are a lot of AI tools right now. New ones are popping out every single day. And so there would be tools overwhelm. You would not know which particular tool to use because there's another one that is coming out and they are launching. And so for me, a rephrase to that would be, what problem do I want to solve?
mhm,
Then let the problem that we want to solve guide us to the tool that we need to use or that we need to learn. But it must first be on the problem that we want to solve. Because again, tools can change. But if we cannot provide clarity on the problem that we are solving, we will be accumulating tools and we will still be relegated. We would not would not be the one that people want to listen to because we have not yet provide clarity, we have not yet provide context, we have not yet ensured that we are clear on what problem it is that we are solving. So that's one area that I would advise instead of just going to learn tools upon tools is to first figure out and make give clarity on what is it that what problem it is that you want to solve, what problem do you want to become indispensable in that you want others to revert to you when it comes to that problem. Once you are clear on the problem, you are clear on the value that problem provide in the industry, in the marketplace, in the globe, then you can now go ahead and choose the tool that you want to learn because by then it is clear. And it might interest you to know that it can just be a simple tool that will work it out for you. And you don't even need to learn something complex that will need to take years to master and figure. So, but when you can provide clarity, and funny enough, that is what people are looking out for. Someone that can make sense of the overwhelm that we are all experiencing right now, especially the information overwhelm that we're experiencing because we can get it at the tip of your finger. But if someone can provide guidance that okay, you this is what you need to figure out first, and the reason you need to figure out that first is because of there are certain risks that you would encounter. You figure out B that would waste your time, that waste your attention, that waste your resources. So that clarity is very important. So once you are clear on that, then you can now go ahead and um choose the tool that would align with whatever it is that you want to learn. And I've seen that Claude has they've created certain courses on their site where you can learn um most of these things and other platforms as well.
Oh, that's an excellent, excellent advice. Get your clarity and learn that. Don't just learn everything at once. That's very good. Excellent. Listen, I'm really, really glad that you were able to join. And I know we had a little spotty internet connections at one point or the other. I hope I acquired a new friend in Nigeria now. It's very, very lovely talking to you. You're very knowledgeable. I really appreciate your insights. And I hope the youth of Nigeria will listen to your message and because it's it's just inevitable. It's already here. It's not like it's AI is coming.
Yep,
It's already here. It's already everywhere, and it's just gonna be better and better. And like today, I had to have this Long Island Railroad strike happening, and it's like so many people cannot drive. I was like, if this would be driven by AI, would we have this situation or not? Like, so certain parts, you're like you don't want it to be too invasive, but certain parts of life, you're like, this could save people's time and people's efficiency again. But Emmanuel,
definitely.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to listen to you. It's a pleasure for you, uh, for your
Pleasure is mine.
insights, and I learn a lot from you. And let's hope we'll stay in touch. And I hope people will follow you also for more content on LinkedIn. Are you on any other platform? You
Definitely.
have any channels like YouTube, anywhere else?
Just LinkedIn for now.
Just LinkedIn. Perfect. Perfect. I appreciate your time. Thank you again for joining, and I hope we'll
Thank
stay
you.
connected.